Ready, set, go.
Welcome to the Sweet Spot, an Up Dog podcast. I'm Andrea.
And I am Jack, and we have a special guest today. Who's our special guest, Dre?
Our guest is Zach Perlmutter, one of our UpDiff champions from UpDiff 2025. Give it up for our Time Warp champs. Woo
Woo! Hey there.
woo!
How you guys doing?
And I want to say we also have to give it up for Navy, right? Because you won it with Navy, and Navy
Yes.
is litter mates with Peach. So we have an in-family party
Oh yeah.
for Navy also winning UpDiff Time Warp. Woo! All right.
Navy's he's the best.
Yeah,
That whole
Navy's
litter
pretty
is amazing.
They are great catching dogs for sure. Like in these toss and fetch games and these linear games, they are phenomenal dogs. So thank you for joining us on the podcast today. As I mentioned, we do want to talk about UpDiff and your Time Warp Championship. But first, let's talk a little bit about you. For anybody who doesn't know about you yet, please tell us a little bit about you, about your amazing dog Navy, maybe about your other dogs also, although Navy is definitely the coolest one. And
Yeah.
just a little biased. And about your club, because I know you also run some updog events up there.
Yeah, so we're based up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, kind of town called Crystal Lake. Um I Me and my wife own 8 dogs currently, Navy being one of them. Mostly border collies. Safari is our other main competitive frisbee dog. We have 2 older border collies, Baymax and Aura. Baymax, my wife's service dog as well, which is pretty cool. And then we have a couple younger border collies that we're bringing along, maybe not quite as quickly as we'd like in disc, but they're making good strides in Hella and Soul. But we host a smaller club, I guess, up here. We try to have monthly events as much as possible. We do bike club, and actually, we just got off of a cluster event that we hosted for the first time up in Wisconsin. It was our first 3-day event, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was super hot, but we made it through, and
Was that with
not.
AKC?
No, it was with Pure Pups up here at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds. But we had a great time, and hopefully everyone else did too.
Cool. Maybe you picked up some new players up there.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully, met a lot of new people, which is always great.
Yeah.
Probably the Yeah.
That's a nice thing about cluster events is sometimes you meet people that maybe they play in their backyard, but they've never attempted, and then they see you out there, and you can pick up some new disc dog fans.
Well, yeah, and it was kind of nice because on Friday we had kind of a smaller run order, so we opened it up to more day of runs, and we got a lot of people in from Flyball and Doc and some of the Scentwork people as well coming over to just play a little bit of Updog. So that's always fun to try to pull some new people in.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, we love hearing about the crossover sport people coming in.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it, Zach. Time Warp Champions, and it's with your dog Navy, which we've
Yep.
already talked about. So first of all, I want to get in your headspace a little bit prior to UpDiff. Did you have a particular game in mind? Is Time Warp that's the game that you felt most confident about? How were you feeling going into UpDiff?
Yeah, so Time Warp is definitely a game that we are extremely successful at pretty consistently. Navy's got a great combination of catching ability and speed as well. So we had broken 90 for the first time last year. So it's definitely one of our better games. And it's just something I do spend, the field is small enough that I can actually practice it in full in our front yard, which helps too.
Yeah.
So I'll actually, a couple weeks before UpDiff, I actually got out a tape measure, painted up just some lines, and just practice a couple of shuffles. And it's actually for me more because I got to throw the disc faster for him. It's at that point where it's on me more than him. So yeah, I definitely took a little extra time preparing for Time Warp because it's something we were successful at last UpDiff as well, and so I
Where
try
did
to
you
beat
finish
again.
the UpDiff before? He
He
was on
was
too. They were young that year.
right. I think he was top 3 in Mega.
Wow.
He was a little farther down in the overall. I think even Safari 2 was maybe eighth overall too. So it's definitely a game that we're pretty successful at.
Yeah, great results, especially for a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
What did the neighbors think about you practicing and
I mean, I don't know. I can't probably for 2 hours a day we're out front throwing a frisbee with our dogs. So some stop and watch, some just kind of drive by. It's a pretty regular occurrence. Unfortunately, our backyard's a little too rough and hilly, so it's harder to play this. But our front yard's pretty nice and flat. So yeah,
that's cool.
I don't know if
Maybe you'll pick up some new players just doing that.
yeah maybe I don't know how much they appreciate the frisbees littered about our lawn all the time, but I did finally build a frisbee rack right next to my front door, so I can just grab them and go. They were just kind of stacked in a pile.
I just saw a post about that the other day on the discussion page about somebody saying, "Is it crazy that I have a rack like of frisbees?" And hers, I think, was like off the porch or the patio in the backyard.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I have a rack of discs like right in the garage as I'm entering the garage and leave to go outside. What'd you make your rack out of?
Just the same PVC pipe kind of rack that seems to be going around on the internet. But
Yeah.
before I had a old flower pot that I was literally just stacking discs like pancakes. And of course,
They get
five discs in, they're just falling all over the place everywhere. So just trying
Yeah.
to upgrade.
So all right, so back to
Yep.
the time warp and the up diff. So what was your score? Were you at 88?
88. Yep.
88. And second place was also at 88. I
Yep.
think that you guys were like 2/10 of a point away, so it was super close, right?
hmm
Um, so thinking about like, was your round sort of early in the day, late in the day? Like, when did you play?
I think it was earlier in the day, if I remember correctly.
I
Yeah.
mean, you had to feel pretty good walking off with an 88.
Yeah, no, for sure. Anytime you can get over 85, I think you can be pretty, confident you'll be pretty close, especially in Mega Division 2. That tends to do pretty well, but 88, I was feeling pretty confident right away. That feels like, when you really hit it well,
hmm
you know, no misses, frisbee's thrown on pretty good time. It was a nice round. Felt good about it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine an 89 or a 90. Like, um, I can't physically force myself to not think enough to like just be like, psh, 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 like just fire those discs out there to. I always seem to struggle with like holding back a little bit, like
So,
and
so I did too, but what I started doing a little bit is set up a camera somewhere, like record and run it with your eyes closed and just try to throw in. Don't look at the dog, just throw in that same rhythm.
Mhm.
And that way, just try to build the muscle memory because yeah, it's so easy to get caught watching the frisbee to try to plan your next one. But with Navy especially, I just have to, it's all on automatic, except for maybe the last one, depending on where he ends up in zone 3 at
Yeah.
the end. Um,
Which brings us to our next question.
sure.
So what was your strategy going into it that day? Do you have a strategy beforehand, or is it like because of your pattern or whatever? But did
Uh,
you throw like 4 quick ones? Did you have the last sweet spot be a roller? Did you feel like, because you had mentioned you run your
yeah,
automatic pattern, so I'm assuming you're not pulling back, you're running your
yeah.
pattern.
So I kind of stand more on the left-hand side of the field, and I'll throw my first disc almost like just off the sideline, like pretty close, and then the second one kind of in another straight line, like parallel to the sideline. Because I try to avoid having my third disc end up in the middle of the sweet spot,
Then
because
she's
then
gonna.
it's kind of like no man's land for him. I try like to work one side or the other so that he can see the disc coming out. He struggles a little bit if he catches it in the middle, and I end up throwing like long, and he has to try to look and flip around to kind of snag it over his shoulder. So I
Yeah.
try to favor the left-hand side on the first 3 throws, and that gives me more of like the right hand side of the sweet spot to work with. Um, and he doesn't jump super like he'll jump high for disc, but he also has a great thing where his back feet stay pretty close to the ground. So he's almost like an NFL wide receiver, toe tapping all the time. So it gives me a pretty good extra leeway around the zone because he'll tap those feet down for me most of the time. So
I like that strategy though, Zach. Like that's not so I start
Freestyle.
out far to the left as well, but I don't go straight on the second one. But I see why you said you did. That makes sense. Because I usually end up going like 1, 2, 3, and 3 is like sort of close to the middle of
right.
the zone, and then I throw 4 a little bit further into the zone, which that's probably where I'm losing at least 1 second
Yeah.
because now my dog's further back in the sweet spot. So I like that idea of kind of having a little bit more of an arc
Yeah.
because you've got 10 yards there to deal with. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess best case scenario is he's catching it like parallel to the 20-yard line, like almost coming back towards me. But
yeah.
he actually doesn't do great at catching frisbees coming at him. So more often than not, I'm throwing kind of deeper into the third zone,
Yep.
just so it makes sure we can secure that catch. But
Very
he's
Yeah.
so fast that
Yeah, very similar to Capiche the way she plays. She the same thing, and it's I don't know if it's because of their length of body that requires it. You know, obviously you put it to the side that creates shape. So we're gonna have
right.
our freestyle part of the conversation now. Yay,
Yes, go for it.
we're talking freestyle. Woohoo! In our freestyle rules, there's a category for shapes, and shapes is interception, and that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Is interception. So you're setting yourself up for a pattern where you can work interception or shapes all the way down to the sweet spot without having to throw to the offside of the sweet spot, which will be on the wrong side of the dog unless you're throwing a reverse spin. So
Yep.
that's exactly the same. I play the same way, but I'm lefty, so I play from the right hand side to the left. But that's a great strategy for dogs that catch best when there's a double line or where there's interception for the throw. And a long back dog, especially a really fast long back dog, is going to do better with a throw that's off to the side than one that's over their head. They just can't turn around in enough time and reorient themselves before they
Yeah, I
can,
mean,
make good
and you see
choices.
that a lot. Like I judge a lot of time where Browns do. So you see a lot of dogs struggle where they'll get a catch and they'll start coming back to the handler, and someone will try to throw the frisbee back over their head, and like there's no shot because unless it's like a super quick dog that can pivot on a dime and then find the frisbee and then catch it, it's really hard.
Yep.
And
So then I guess the roller would be the strategy. So to
right.
answer the question, did you go in it planning on 4 throws, or do you go in it knowing that you might do a roller if you get stuck in the wrong part of the zone? Or like what's your
Um,
response for let's say your third one goes right in the middle, would you consider throwing a sidearm or a backhand roller to one side or the other to get your interception?
I have before, yes. But it's really just if he's really kind of out of sorts. And sometimes he'll grab a disc and end up way wide right or left, and just a roller, especially in like like kind of a windy day where I can't get the disc to float quite as well, then I might try for a roller. But really, if I'm planning on being competitive, it's 4 throws.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
that
gonna
you just
I'm
do it
gonna
as a
try out
pattern.
this new go
Yeah.
ahead, Dre, sorry.
Well, I like that he just runs it as a pattern, not even look, just like the dog. It's like it's not any different from fragility,
Well,
right?
that's what
The
I was
dog
just
runs
gonna
the
say,
pattern, and you
and
just
it
throw your 20-yard throw just right to the or the 10-yard, depending on what level you're playing. Um, but it's that same concept, right? Teaching the dog to run the time warp pattern. It's the same thing as toss and fetch, teaching a dog to hold a double line, an
Hmm.
interception line, and run a flank line down the field without getting in a single line from the disc. So it's a flank line behavior trained, and if you train that behavior and make that automatic, then all you can focus on is just hitting your throw targets. That's really
Yep.
cool. I'm gonna have to try that.
Please.
I think that so like in fragility, typically, again, dogs coming off my left, they're coming off that jump, and I'll throw that disc with a little bit of anhyzer on it so that as my dog's coming around, like I want them just barely
Yep.
going over that line and hitting my disc at the curve so they're coming right back to me. So I'm just picturing it's almost like that, but I just need two catches, right? I
Right.
need two catches right on that line. So I like this idea, Zach, that you've put in my head about the second throw. I shouldn't start angling in on the second throw. The second throw needs to still be straight out ahead. And
Hmm.
then if I can get my dog to start angling in right on that 20-yard line and hit two catches on that 20-yard line, I mean, that's where I could get another second, maybe. Uh,
Right.
I still don't know if I can get a 90. I still think I think my highest was 87, actually. I don't think I even got an 88 before.
I mean, at some point, it just, it's just kind of the dog's ability, just the dog's got to be fast enough. Like I thought, actually on Friday we played and we hit another 90, not to mention anything, but like I thought it was the fastest I felt like a round had ever gone for me. Like I thought there was like, oh, this was amazing, and I was like, oh, it still wasn't as fast as my other one, and like I'm at the point where I have to figure out how to shave, milliseconds off from my throws again because he did everything perfectly and he sprinted back as fast as he can, and that's kind of it. So
Was
yeah.
it when you're getting these 90s, is it like you're rounding up to get the 90? Or,
No, this time I rounded down, but
okay, so
yeah,
like you said, literally it's milliseconds and you could somebody's going to get a 91.
like I think it was a uh 0.24 or something was the time remaining. So it was close. It was it was right
Yeah.
there.
I don't think no one's got a
Gotta pay your
91, right,
timer
Kat?
more to be slower on the trigger.
Yeah,
Be a
I
little
guess
slower on the trigger.
I don't remember who was on the timer that time, so
You didn't pay
I
him enough. Whatever it was, you didn't pay him
yeah.
enough.
I mean, at
It
a
might have
certain
been, it
point
might
in
have been my
time,
wife though, so I can't say anything negative about that. But
I mean, at a certain point in time, it definitely does come down to reflex
Human
time on
error.
the human's part too.
yeah,
Um, I know I've had a number of people like say, "Oh, well, we should have like laser on the line like they do on agility." And that all makes sense for the start of the game, but it's
right.
really rough to like how would you even like
There's no way for them to know that it's the third COD disc if it's actually search that time. Like, yeah, it would be
right,
really
right.
hard. Oh,
Oh, Kat just said there's been three 91s.
okay.
Who got the 91s? Dr. Worm, man, he is my
Yeah,
nemesis.
I
I
gotta
love
let
Dr.
you know
Worm. He's
for up dog games, Jack, so you can have a dog equally as fast.
What's that?
I gotta lend you a capiche for up dog games when we do our next regional one where we all go together. I'll have to give you her to play for a couple games.
Well, Doc is related to Dr. Worm.
Yeah,
you
he's
go.
just a baby
So
still.
My niece, she's a whippet out of Ohio.
so two Whippets have 91s.
Yeah.
Border Whippet and a Whippet. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we have our work cut out for
Yeah,
us.
we do.
92 is what we need to get.
Oh,
You're growing a dog for it right now.
yeah.
You're growing them up. Okay, so what about the games that you feel are your strong games? Like, do you feel like you said that Time Warp is one of your strongest games? Is it your strongest game? And then if you had to pick like a second game that you felt like was, number two for you guys, what would you say was your number one?
Um. So yeah, Time Warp's definitely my like consistently strongest game. Space Out as well. I really like the whole spaced out fireball boom greedy kind of subset of games, and Navy's pretty amazing at them just with how well he catches. So we're fairly successful in all those. Greedy, I'm still got to catch up to Dr. Worm still. He's watching some of his rounds is pretty amazing. But yeah, I think we placed in spaced outs last year. Finally got three spaced outs at UpDiff, which was pretty cool. So yeah, all those games I feel pretty good at. And I enjoy them because it's for me it feels like it's the most handler frisbee skill, trying to hit the different smaller zones, which makes it a little, more challenging for me, I guess.
He's like the opposite kind of player that I am. I don't like the zone games. I like the movement on the field
But
games like
there,
freestyle.
there definitely is kind of. I feel like there's a kind of a subset of one or the other where you
Yeah.
know
Well, which one
depending on
does
what you
greedy
like.
fall in? Is that the movement one or is that a
Greedy's just
zone
the best
one?
one. It's the best one. It's everything.
Greedy
Big
is great.
enough zone, so it's not a tiny zone. They're not too far away. You have to still move. Still requires accuracy. It doesn't require far throws like somebody could just throw a sweet spot if they can't. I think Greedy is, aside from freestyle, our most our most all around perfect game. It's my
well,
favorite aside from freestyle.
well, and with greedy too, you really showcase a lot of that shaping with your throws too. It's super important as well.
Yep.
So
I wish
behind the
more people
scenes
threw
skills.
alternate spin. I really still do. I really wish people would pull out like sidearms to throw to their weak side, you know. And we're starting to see now, thanks to Jack teaching people about Anheuser. It never even occurred to me to teach people. We were hanging out in Florida and he's like, just throw Anheuser. I was like, Jack, it never occurred to me to teach anyone to throw Anheuser. This whole time I've just been like for like almost 20 years I've been fighting for people to throw a hyzer. Like the last thing I want to do is teach them to throw an hyzer, right? But yeah, it's a super valuable tool in our games for shaping shots. But I will give extra cheers to anyone who throws reverse spin to hit their
Well,
weak side in those games.
it's funny because Navy does like reverse direction for his agility, just because like his natural round is the other way. So as I'm running him around, I'm backwards for my throw. So
Yeah.
I've done lefty, I've done flip,
Flick,
back
Yeah.
yeah.
front hand stuff throws with him. It's been a little frustrating sometimes, but it's been helping me
Just
get
give
a
him to
little
me.
bit
I'm a
better.
lefty. I'll throw it to
Yeah,
him. I'm a
there you
lefty.
go.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
he's great.
We'll just swap dogs for that game. Nobody will notice. Nobody will
Yeah,
know.
Remix
perfect.
does that too, Zach.
Yeah.
He goes the wrong way. I always say the wrong way.
Not the wrong way. Every way is valid.
So Zach, I'm sure you've played level 2 Time Warp,
Yep.
right? Um,
Only once, actually.
only once.
We don't have a lot of level two. It's something I want to bring to our club, but we kind of have to, I guess, I don't know how many people we'd have around to play it, but we've been talking about like we call like admin only events where we, kind of smaller groups of people maybe getting together to do level two games. So it's definitely something I want to get more into because they seem so much fun, well, really fun.
Yeah, it's different. It's not as bam 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 because
Right.
it's not as close and
Well,
you still
Jack,
have to be
why don't you describe for anybody who doesn't know, because that's not a popular one. People are going to see level two. Why don't you describe the difference?
absolutely good point, Dre. So it's basically everything is just moved back 10 yards. So the first zone is 10 to 20 yards, but you still have to hit the sweet spot just in the 10 by 10. Like you have to hit the
Right.
sweet spot for the second zone. And then the third zone is all the way across the field again. So it's kind of like I have the whole field, I got to be accurate, and then I have the whole field again.
So
Um,
it's like an H shape with a sweet spot in the middle.
yeah,
Yep.
and then you got to go
All
back
the
to
way
the
across
sweet spot,
the
of
sweet spot.
course,
Yeah.
for your double shot, to get that
Right.
second throw. So you could get a catch in 10 to 20, and then get your catch in 30 to 40, and then come back and just hit 1-2
A
real
roll
quick in the
throw.
sweet
Yeah.
spot.
Hmm.
So there's different strategies there. It's definitely you're definitely not getting a 91
No, no.
because there's just it's too far for the dogs to get that high of a score. But it's a cool. I mean, it's a cool variation of
Variation.
it, I think. Yeah,
Some of our level two games, I think, change the game quite a bit. Like four-way play, I feel like changes it a lot too with the shifting from side to side. It's still the same
Definitely.
base game, but with the movement, it changes so much about the strategy and what you can throw and what you can't and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I haven't even seen level two Time Warp being played live. We've talked about it in our meetings and stuff, but I've never actually seen it. So
should
that's one of
we?
the people aren't pushing. You do that at UpDiff?
I was just gonna say, should we make that level 2 at UpDiff?
Well, I mean, we
That
did
would
already
be
have it be
interesting.
our featured game. We had it, didn't, wasn't Time Warp one of our featured games already?
it's been a featured game, yeah, where we've done 2 rounds of it.
Yeah.
But we never no. So level 2, we've got freestyle, throw and go,
And
and
Crazy.
fragility. Those
yeah.
are our 3 level 2 games. If we were to put another one out there as level 2, my vote's always been for 4-way play.
Story play. Yeah.
That would be a good one, yeah.
But
That'd be
Cat thinks
crazy.
spaced out. I just think spaced out, you really are stretching people because now you've got, like, depending on your dice roll, I could end up having to do like a 35-yard throw, you
Right.
know. Whereas 4-way play, I still, it would just be 10 yards would be the furthest throw that you'd have to make.
And I
Yeah.
think too, like I feel like four-way play, there's a pretty good subset of competitors that are like right at that top, like near 5 quads right now, where it'd be cool to see if, doing level 2 would kind of shake that up a little bit. There's a lot of real quality four-way play players
Yeah.
around.
Planting seeds for future UpDiff torture. Yeah, I think that we wouldn't want to make anything level 2 that would prohibit, 50+% of our attendants not being able to throw to the zones. So that would be
Right.
something that we would want to limit. We wouldn't want to make it so prohibitive for people like it can't be longer than 20 yards. You
I
can't
mean,
have
we already did that to them with Boom, and we see how much they like it.
hated everybody.
I mean, it
And
was supposed.
it was a windy day. It was the worst wind day.
It's been 2 years in a row of windy boom days.
Windy
And
boom. Last year
yeah,
it was with Far Out also. At least this year for
yeah.
Far Out we got favorable wind. But yeah, boom has gotten boomed twice,
Yeah.
and it shows. It shows. It's not everybody's favorite game, but um, it's definitely a good one. It'll challenge us, but I don't want to do level 2 of that one. We can't even get people to level
Yeah. Um,
Level 2 is you got to come all the way back.
1.
Make it a 90-second game, go up and back.
Yep.
Jack will be the only one playing that game.
No, I'd play. I'm
You and
I mean,
Jack.
Boom is my favorite game, so I'm
Oh,
100% Boom supporter. So
oh
what's
wow.
what's funny is that, like, so it was during the pandemic. I realize this episode is not supposed to be about Boom, but um, it was during the pandemic that I reached out to everybody and I was just like, hey, what kind of new games, do we need? And just like most people know, our games, most of them have been built to like build additional skills that our players, might need for freestyle and things like that. And so, anyway, one of the things was come up with a game that forces our players to throw a little bit further and to go back and forth and keep your dog out away from you, like a zigzag pattern kind of thing. And so that's kind of how Boom got built. And then I think people just was like, no, on second thought, I really don't want to throw that far. It is hard. It's a challenging game, and especially like you said with wind, if you get some bad wind or something, it can not be fun. It's one of those games similar to Time Warp, in my opinion, that and Greedy, where if you're gonna go for it, you're gonna
Oh
go
man.
for it, and you could get a great score, or you could walk off the field with 10 points, because you get the automatic boom or whatever, and that's all you get. And Time Warp's kind of similar. Like if you're really
Yep.
going for it and you're firing those discs out, I mean, not that you're going to get a bad score, but if you have one miss,
right,
especially at up diff, you're done. Like that's the end. You're not going to get on the podium with a miss.
yeah,
Um, so high risk, high reward games.
Yep. Yep. Um, so you and Cheyenne, you run McHenry Disc Dogs, and you
yep.
had stuff in the Illinois, Chicago area. Do you guys have any special events coming up soon that you can tell our listeners about? Anything that's
Um,
this summer or this fall? Any bigger events that you have planned?
yeah. So July 18th or 16th and 17th, we're hosting a Skyhounds classic qualifier, and then we'll do Updog the Sunday after, and then sometime I think early
We don't want to hear about
October.
Yeah,
Skyhounds
I'll
on
be
this
like,
sorry.
podcast,
go on
Zach.
Sunday.
But our biggest event of the year is the Windy City Disc Bowl that we host in late September, early October. We're still kind of finalizing those details, but we'd love to have as many people as possible come out to that. We'll play all the games, freestyle both days, far out, boom, time warp.
This is a potential. This is a good. What? Okay, so you're playing everything on that one, and it's a 3-dayer.
Oh yeah. It's at least two, maybe three, 2.5,
All
3.
right,
But yeah.
we're looking for someplace fun to crash this year.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely. Come on.
if it's right around that right time of year that we might be able to get out, it's going to depend on the date.
Best
That's cool.
best weather of the year in Chicago too. So
Yeah, I
know,
mean that time
the
of
end
year
of
is really beautiful up there.
I mean, but didn't you just call it the Windy City something or other?
oh yeah, no, our club has always the most challenging but best weather conditions to prepare you for UpDiff, guaranteed.
Well
There,
said.
there you go. There you go. That's a
Well,
good selling point.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Well,
never
what
know
do you
what you're gonna
think?
get.
Are you feeling time warpy, Jack?
Well, I mean, we have the Time Warp champion here,
We do.
so
I'm ready.
Zach, you know what this is going to be?
Oh, look at him.
Yeah,
Look at him.
I'm ready. Let's go.
He's been
I'm ready.
practicing out in the
I'm
front
ready.
yard.
All right. All right. So I have my timer all set up. I'm going to give you a ready, set, go. Jack's going to ask first question. Here we go. Ready, set, go.
How many dogs is too many dogs?
3.
Have you ever crank called someone?
No,
What is your favorite dog disc to throw?
superhero.
Favorite summer movie, past or present?
The Rookie with Dennis Quaid.
That's a really good answer.
Name 3 ways to beat the summer heat.
35 seconds.
Pool, shade, and freezer.
Are you a morning or an evening person?
Morning.
You're a morning person. 25 seconds. You're doing good.
What's the farthest away location you've ever traveled to for a disc dog competition?
Houston, Texas.
Whoop, whoop. What's the last thing you purchased from Amazon?
A hose for my RV.
11 seconds.
What is your favorite updog game?
Boom.
Name a pizza topping that's unacceptable. 4 seconds.
Pineapple.
Oh, 2 seconds left. He finishes the time warp successfully.
But unfortunately, he got the last question wrong.
He got a couple questions wrong, but that doesn't matter.
I like the first one. How many dogs is too many dogs?
3. That was
How many do you have? 8.
I told my wife that we were gonna stop at 3, and that ended like 3 months after that. So
yeah, that tells you how much your boundary means there, buddy.
right, yeah, for sure.
What did you say? You have 8?
We have 8. Yeah.
Even close to 3.
After 3, they just all kind of blend together. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You don't notice.
Which event did you come to in Houston?
It was 2 years ago. It was like the March.
I remember I saw you there. I just don't remember what it was. I
It
remember
was
you.
AWI and Updog.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of it.
Cool. Yeah, the spring one.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Zach, for joining us for our podcast today and shedding some strategies on your time warp badassery with your awesome dog Navy. Congratulations
Yes.
again on your UpDiff domination for our fastest game.
And he does get all the credit for that. None of it's on me. He's
Oh, you
pretty
did have to throw the
amazing.
4 in a
That's
row
true, but
to be catchable. So
yeah, but he
Yeah.
catches a lot that I throw poorly. So
Well, I appreciate I've got a little bit of a different strategy. I can tweak my strategy and see if I can eke out another second so I can get that top achievement. The 88 is an achievement, and I
you
am
gotta bust
only
the
at
91
87.
now.
What's that?
You gotta bust the 91 now. You just gotta aim high, Jack.
Well, I'm not
Yeah.
saying after I get an 88 that I'm not going to go for an 89, but
we're going for incremental
You want
improvement.
microtransactions. I got it.
exactly. Zach, thanks very much.
Thank
Those
you.
of you guys looking for a place to go check out Updog, check out Zach's Updog. And what
Yeah.
was the date again?
It's McHenry Disc Dogs on Facebook is the place to find it. And
And the date of
Yeah,
the
we host-
3-day one was when?
it'll be like the last weekend
I think it's
of
26th, 27th,
September.
28th of September. I think that's that same weekend, Jack.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
All right.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And
Thank
we hope
you.
to see you on an updog field soon.
Would love to see
In
you.
the meantime, be kind to each other
And be kind to your animals. And be kind to Earth.
and be,
Yes.
be kind to Zach, too. Really, just be kind to Zach.
All right, guys. We'll see you
Yeah.
next time on The Sweet Spot. Is it crazy that I have a rack